Hello everyone, welcome back to Internet TV. My name is Robert Mtali and I'll be your pure physics tutor. Alright, so without any further ado, let's start today's lesson, which is the static electricity. Alright, so first thing first, we need to define what static electricity is. So static electricity is simply the electricity at rest in form of charge. Alright, so there are two types of electric charges. Namely, we have a positive charge and the negative charges. And under static electricity, there are two laws which you need to remember at all times. Number one is that like charges repel, and number two, and like charges attract. So these are the two fundamental laws you need to remember when you're dealing with the topic static electricity. Alright, now let's move on to the other thing you need to know under this topic is that under this topic, the only particles which move are electrons. The only particles which move are what? Electrons. In other words, the negative charges. The positive charges do not what? Move at all. So if I ask you to explain anything under this topic which involves movement of particles, just know that it's always the electrons that move. Whether you are charging an object or discharging an object, it's always the electrons that move. That is a very important concept you need to remember. Alright, now let's look at an instrument which is called the leaf electroscope. The leaf electroscope. Alright, so this is simply a device used to detect the presence of an electric charge. A gold leaf consists of the following parts. We have the brass cap, the insulator, the metal rod, the gold leaf, the metal plate, and the metal casing. Alright, so now we need to know the function of each part. So function number one, the function of the brass cap. So it receives charges. It has free electrons as metal, which can be repelled or attracted to one end. Then the second one is the insulator. So the insulator prevents an unwanted flow of charges between the positive end and the negative end. Okay, so the function of the metal plate is to support the gold leaf when it is charged, and it attracts or repels the leaf. Then the function of the gold leaf is simply it's a sensitive part of the electroscope. It diverges or falls in any preference of charge. The function of the metal casing, it shields the leaf from external factors which can affect the leaf. Alright, now we need to know the uses of electroscope. The uses of what? The electroscope. So it is used for detecting the presence of charge. It is used for testing the insulating properties of materials. It is used for estimating the quantity of charge. It is used for identifying the type of charge on a body. Alright, so once we're done with that instrument, we need to focus on the next part of the topic, which is charging an electroscope. Charging an electroscope. So there are two methods we should know here. Number one is what we call by contact, and number two is what we call by induction. So there are two methods to charge an electroscope. Number one by contact, number two by induction. Alright, so first let's start with what? By contact. Charging by what? Contact. So when a glass rod is rubbed with fur, it acquires positive charges. So the rod is then rubbed firmly across the metal cap of the electroscope. The negative charges are attracted from the plate and the leaf to the charged rod. So the charge acquired by the electroscope is the same as that on the charging rod, as you can see on the diagram there. Then the other method is charging by what? Induction. Charging by induction. Now, using the law of electric charges, when a negative rod is brought near the metal cap, electrons are repelled to the metal plate and the leaf leaving a net positive charge on the metal cap. Touching the metal cap at this point while still remaining at the charged rod is at its position ensures that the rod remains the positive charges at the end of the metal cap due to attraction between the negatively charged rod and the positive charges. Electrons then flow to the AC, the body, and the electric body, and the leaf collapses. finger is then removed before the rod. A net charge is left on the electroscope, causing the leaf to rise. So the charge around is opposite to that on the charging rod. And lastly, we need to understand how lightning is made. Alright, so in a thunderstorm, the clouds are charged by friction with air. Lightning is a discharge of electrons occurring between two charged clouds or between a charged cloud and the earth. Due to the huge amount of charges on the ground, it can produce heat which can burn forest, damage thousands and kill what? People. Alright, thank you for watching. This is Robert Ontari, your presenter.